Hi Daryl, Chance, and Tanya. On behalf of our Aspen Village staff, we'd like to take you on a tour of our Aspen Village Haunted Maintenance Shed.
That one, right there. So this is where the haunted shed begins. So we're gonna bring groups of about 4 or 5 in here, and then we're gonna have a host or an entertainer who's gonna be played by Kyle's wife, and they're gonna show a video. Very entertaining video. And this kind of sets the mood, kind of sets up like what the haunted shed's all about, kind of gives a little history and background about it, and then kind of sets it up for the finale where we have our main haunter, which is played by Kyle. So after seeing the video, the haunter then introduces them into the shed and points them to this direction. So follow me, we'll go through. So through here we've just recycled a lot of old materials that we found throughout the shop that we had here anyways that weren't being used. So they come to their first scaria, which is a term coined by Kyle Morant as a scare area. This is a scaria. So this is kind of set up as the gardener or the groundskeeper, who's going to be played by Patrick. So we have leaves, and all the leaves are going to be down, kind of creating an effect that you're walking, crunching, and all this other stuff. In this room, we'll also have a fog that's going to be laying low, close to the ground, that's coming up.
So about the fog, me and Aaron both have fog machines. So the fog machines we have disperse fog up into the air, but we wanted the effect of the fog laying low to the ground. You can buy those machines, they run about 130 bucks. So we did some research, Dave and I. We found out how we could turn the fog machines we have into low-lying fog machines. So what we did was the fog gets cooled after the liquid turns into fog. It gets cooled in these buckets, and then we actually have plumbed the fog to run through pipes throughout all of our scarias in the shop. So the fog will be dispersed everywhere with these 2 machines through our cold buckets, and it'll be low-lying fog, which is pretty cool. It gives a really neat effect. So that was one of our big projects that we did. And of all the stuff we had, actually the piping that we ran was all left over from a Boy Scout project that I had for my scout troop. So it's like everything in here is recycled materials, which we're really proud of. Welcome!
So then after the garden scaria, we enter into this room, which is set up kind of like a medical room triage or surgeon tables. I want you to notice the IV. This is authentic, so kind of get a close-up of this. Patrick was able, with his connections, to score one of these authentic-looking thingies. What is this called?
It's an IV bag.
IV bag, there we go. IV bag
and a drip set.
We ran into a problem. We didn't know how to make the water glow exactly, so we did a little more research, and we were able to find out that highlighter markers, once you break them open and use the felt that's inside of it, mixed with water, it creates this really cool glow-in-the-dark effect with the like green ooze. So in here we're gonna have 2 women patients with a mad scientist that's working on them. We're gonna have someone who's lying underneath the table here, and they're gonna have a toe tag, so everybody thinks they're just kind of dead. But as soon as like the party enters, boom, this thing pops up. They're gonna have somebody drilling over here. Girls start screaming, whatever.
No!
is kind of like a disorienting effect with all these materials that have been hanging down. We have like a strobe light and garbage bags. Just follow me. We'll go through this area. So we've reused a lot of the old banners that had just been sitting in storage for a couple of years, along with just this really cheap sheeting material, which we already had laying around the shop that hadn't been used in years again. So after that, the party comes to this point in this area. This area is kind of set up with just really cheap DI dolls that we got, and we've since, as you can see, mangled them up and just kind of put them hanging from the ceiling. And we've gotten a volunteer, Jordan, who we affectionately call George, to sit in here and be scary, creepy. And this is to help with that effect.
Come play with me. Look at all my friends. Play with me. Would you like some tea?
So after that, we move into the next area, up this quick stair, and I'll meet you there.
So this area that we have built is probably the most extensive thing we built. When we get up in there, it's going to be set up as we're in a room, but we're actually standing on top of our dress surplus of dressers. So underneath us in those dressers is going to be a crawling maze. So it's really nice because we can double the area that we have. The top part's going to be a place they go through, and the bottom part is going to be a place they crawl through as well. So we're able to use, we had 58 dressers. We were able to put them all and kind of section off the area, and then we're on top of them as we get up in here as well. And this was all Patrick's idea, so he takes all credit.
A lot of work, a lot of moving dressers. So this is Jebediah. He's our friend. He was donated by a student, a tenant that lives here, and he's going to be in this area along with a clown. Is that still the plan?
Maybe.
A clown or someone else will help scare in this room. This room is it's made up of paint cloths and some extra tarps we had laying around, and we got some black lights up here and some glow-in-the-dark or fluorescent spray paint going around. And here's a set of our extra couches to make it look like a living room area.
It was a collaborative effort, I would say. Like,
The idea kind of just resonated.
yeah, because we
We
had the idea for the maze, and then from the maze it kind of just
decided to use the area above the maze.
built on that, yeah.
So Alright, follow me this way. This is a little hallway, and like Kyle said earlier, you're walking on top of the dressers that we created the maze with. And you get to this area, and you have to step down into the maze. And the fog that we were talking about actually comes out into the maze in this portion, through this pipe here. And since it lays low, it actually flows into the maze. We used some of the mirrors here to kind of create a scary illusional effect. So then they'll step down and start crawling. And in the maze we have some strobe lights. And then the maze is also lined with mirrors to make it even harder. Dave will be in the maze. What he's done is he's created himself a cubby, and he will be able to jump out of the cubby and scare whoever's crawling by. Alright. So that's where the maze ends, right here. And you can see our wall of dressers. After that, there isn't going to be any scarers in here, but this is kind of a transition area into our next scare area. And what you do is you step up on this chair here, And what we've used is we've used a dining room table and another one with only 2 legs. So you crawl up on top of that, and then there's a slide down on the mattresses.
Okay, so in this area, it kind of gives you the feel of you're in like a mental institution or something with these mattresses and just you're locked in here, this cage. There's probably gonna be somebody in there stuck scaring, so it's kind of just a cool area where the sound is trapped in here. You probably won't be able to hear a lot of what else is going on before you move into the next area.
Another thing I'd like to point out is we didn't change out any lights in this room. Kyle had plexiglass and some fluorescent paint. So in this room and then also in the red room with the all parts hanging down, Kyle was able to just paint that plexiglass to kind of give it that eerie effect. And that's kind of what the light kind of sets the mood here.
Yay! It's so much fun at Aspen Village! I know.
Let's play a game. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, after you leave the padded room, you come to this hallway, and this is what we call our shadow box. This is just a plastic that we got hanging up here. We got a really bright light. We'll have someone in there just doing some weird stuff that you don't really know what they're doing, but it'll be scary. Then you walk around this corner, and this is kind of we're gonna have a student helping out in here. It's just gonna be random. He's just gonna be scaring. We got torn up dolls. We got a bucket full of bloody eyeballs. What else we got? Yeah, this is
Hammer.
So you just gonna make a lot of
Scissors.
noise, it's gonna be really scary. So that shadow box also doubles as our sound station. So we've gotten two pairs of cheap speakers from DI, and we were able to wire up speakers to the maze portion and also the beginning of the haunted shed, and then in this portion. And so we'll have music throughout, just kind of setting the vibe, really creepy tunes. But that's also going to be inside the shadow box area.
And this is kind of just an effect here we added. You've got one of our maintenance screwdrivers that got away from us. And in here. Good use of our chop saw. A hole saw, a hacksaw, a pry bar, a skill saw, and a jigsaw. All bloody.
Then our group is led to this point, where we enter into what we call the finale. So there will be a haunter here that will receive a signal from our main attraction. He'll receive a signal here telling him that it is now A-OK for the haunted to come through.
Hauntese.
Hauntees. So then they open this door and enter into the long walk.
Yeah.
Hi, you here to play? Are you here to play with me? You want to get through, do you? You want to go in there, huh? Do you? Okay, go on in. Come on, go on. Get out! Get out! Go now! Get out! Go!
Okay, so they're brought to this point. Door closes behind them.
And it
Gonna
locks, right?
And it locks. No effect added at all. It just does that automatically. So they come in. This room's all dark. Okay, what they see at the end of the hall is a ominous red light. Okay,
Dark and ominous.
Ominous.
dark and ominous. So this is the effect. You have a red light, so they have to walk. We're gonna have scares in here. Over here. They'll be scaring them and shaking things up, creeping them out. You come to this point, the lights are still off, obviously. They only have this light to guide them, the red light. Then, out walks, down at the end of the hall, the strobe light is going. And he revs up the chainsaw and starts walking towards them. Our hauntees at this point are so terrified. They now have to choose between 6 keys to find a way out of here. Okay? Through these 6 keys, one will open this lock and then they'll be free.
Choose wisely. It's locked.
Oh! Guys, it looks
It's gonna be silver. There's someone behind us.
Hey! Who's excited to go in? Like 2 people?
The little girl with the dolls.
Yeah.
Dude, she nailed that. Holy cow. She's freaking me out right now.
It was very, very terrifying. It comes out at the least expected moments. You're not expecting it at all.
Not yet, not yet, not yet! I need to know all of your names first! Tell me your name!
I think the scariest part was going through like the dark. You had to crawl in the mirrors and the strobe lights. That was part was kind of scary. And the end was cool where it was locked and then the chainsaw kind of came out after.
And then you get to the very end, and then when you're trying to get it open, that's when you hear that ominous chainsaw.
This is my first haunted house in like my whole life, and it was good. But I was really scared. You did good. You did good.